Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Cut Podcast. This is where I chop it up with the world's finest. Today I'm here with
Tychon Carter, content creator.
and today I'm going to be asking him those deep questions that you guys won't want to miss. Check this out, guys. So obviously we just had a small introduction of who you actually are, but to the people watching at home, is there anything that you'd want to elaborate on? Like who really are you, man?
Who really am I? You know, it's always a loaded question. You know, I feel like people always ask me that, and I'm always like, where do I even start? Yeah, I do content. Yeah, I do a little bit of acting. Yeah, I do some stuff in the mental health space. I'm a speaker. I'm a lot of things. I'm not one thing. But who I am, I'm truly just somebody who wants to give back to the world and leave it a better place than it was when I came to it. And I'm just like a lifelong learner. Like I want to ask life's tough questions and then just help people achieve their dreams while I try to achieve mine too, you know? And I think my dream is just to grow and learn.
So what would you say, obviously all those things are probably passions of yours, right? But what would you say is your main passion? What do you care about the most when you're doing all this stuff? Why do you think you are in all these things that you do?
It's interesting. That again is hard for me to answer. I think for me the thing I love most is interacting with people. So it's anything to do with the interaction with people is what I love. Some people are I'm a construction worker. I love construction. For me, I just love people. So when I go and do a talk or I speak to a crowd, I like interacting with them after. When I make content, I like making content with people that engages people. You know what I mean? Those are the things that I love. It's people.
Have you ever tried maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but have you ever tried public speaking, if that makes sense? Speaking specifically in front of all these crowds and stuff for a specific reason, for mental health. You speak to I don't know, I think a TED Talk would be pretty sick, no?
I did one. I
Really?
literally just did one.
Oh shit.
In February.
Really, yeah?
Yeah, and
That's dope.
It was really, really cool because I got to speak about my experience on reality TV, how that affected my mental health, and just give people tips on what they could do for their mental health. So it was that experience was actually dope.
Break that down. How is a TED Talk actually ran? How's everything go?
So it's pretty much they reach out to you. Well, they reached out to me and they said, hey, you should apply. You'd be really good as a speaker based on the topics you talk about. So I kind of pitched, you pitch your topic that you want to talk about.
Yep.
And then they pretty much decide whether or not you'd be a good fit for it. And they chose me as a good fit. And then you're assigned a TED coach. And then your coaches help you iron out your topic and how you help you write it and really bring your topic to life so that when eventually you're on the TED stage, you know exactly what you're talking about and it becomes seamless and smooth. It's like a 3-4 month process.
Are the coaches in person or are they online type of?
So it's virtual for the most part till you get to the in-person rehearsal.
Okay.
So the only time I met them in person before my actual TED Talk was at the rehearsal in person.
And did you only meet them for a day or something, or were you with them for a week in person or?
No, it's just one day rehearsal.
Oh shit.
So they film you, they give you their feedback. They just try to get your stage presence, what works, what doesn't work, that kind of stuff.
So how many other speakers were with you when you were speaking? Because I know they have multiple speakers, right? In one event?
Yeah, a TED conference, I think there was about 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
So besides yours, right? What was the most interesting topic that you heard
I didn't watch all of them, but the lady that went after me, I watched hers. And hers was really interesting. So she had was it $1 million? It was either million. It It was a high value company, like in the millions.
Okay.
She had a company that she was running. It was kind of like an Asian HelloFresh. What I remember how she described it. It was like a HelloFresh.
HelloFresh.
You know what HelloFresh is? Like the meal. So HelloFresh is like a meal. It's like a meal prep service where it's not even meal prep. Like they send you groceries, or they send you like the ingredients you would need to make certain meals. So say you want to order like 10 meals a week, they'd send you the ingredients to cook those and like the instructions.
Okay.
So instead of going to the grocery store and just shopping for whatever, it just comes to exactly what you need comes to you.
Okay. Sick.
So she had an Asian, or it was like a Chinese version of it.
Yeah.
Where it was like based.
Oh, like a language or just like food?
The food.
Okay.
Right, and she was talking about how important data is in making decisions. So she was just talking about like how that helped her company. But what was really interesting about it, she was saying like using data for even decisions that are not just business but relationship. You know, so like if you're evaluating, you know, whether or not somebody cares about you, what data are you using to measure that? How often do they call you? How often do they keep their promises? How often, you know what I mean? Like she was really talking about using data to make decisions. And I thought that was very interesting because, you know, sometimes in life we make decisions based on emotions rather than really looking at the data, or like we're looking at it logically. So I thought that message really hit home for me. So I enjoyed her talk for that reason.
At this like TED Talk, right? Like I don't know if this goes for all like TED Talks, but aren't there like there's like topics that come with every TED Talk, right? Like a theme.
Yeah.
What was the theme of like this event that you spoke at?
It was an open letter speaking on the unspoken. Okay. So people were just speaking on things that are not always spoken about. I think that was really it for them.
Yeah.
So for me, like I spoke on my mental health journey, you know, and like being on reality TV and everybody thinking I'm so successful and so happy when in fact I wasn't. I'm like, I talked about that.
Okay.
You know, and it was just really, I think people's definition of success in their minds is different than what it actually looks like in real life. And I think for me, that was me. So a lot of times you think, okay, I want to be rich and famous. That would be success to me. You know, and then for me, I don't want to say I was rich and famous, but I definitely won a lot of money and had a bit of fame.
Yeah.
And what I realized from that experience is like those things are not the things that make you happy. It's actually like your happiness it's a choice, and it has to come from inside. You know, it's like your love for yourself. It's not something other people can give to you. And I think that was my biggest misconception, was that thinking that, you know, money can make you happy. Like obviously it helps, but I don't think money alone makes people happy. And like you see a lot of celebrities who are visibly unhappy, or they've committed suicide, or, you know, their lives are hard, and you wonder why. And it's because they're not practicing the things that actually bring them joy and happiness.
So why do you think why do you think do you think most celebrities aren't happy, or what do you think?
I just think they're just people.
Yeah.
Like, I think the question you'd be asking is like, are most people unhappy?
Okay.
And I would say yes.
Like most people aren't happy, or
are unhappy.
Okay.
Is truly what I believe. It's kind of like most marriages failing. You know what I mean? It's not. I don't want to be like. I'm not trying to say like the world is a sad place, but I just believe that if I were to say like, if we're looking at 50% of people being happy or 50% of people being unhappy, I would say more than 50% are unhappy.
I mean, doesn't that correlate back to like, I don't know, like a lot of people are just like have like high expectations for themselves, no? Which is good though, right? Like they're unhappy because they're not at that expectation, if that makes sense.
You're saying that's a good thing?
Like isn't that a good thing? You know what I mean?
I just don't think because you're not where you're at, just because you're not where you want to be in life, doesn't mean that you should be genuinely unhappy every day. I think that's the problem. So just because, you know, you're not at the level of success that you've defined that you want to be at, shouldn't necessarily you shouldn't be unhappy about that. Because like at the end of the day, if you're getting better every day and you're getting towards your goal, shouldn't you be happy about that?
Yeah.
But sometimes we're so focused on how far we have to go, we forget about how far we've come. And that can make us unhappy. It's like gratitude, right? We're always thinking about what we don't have, but never appreciating what we do have. Whereas, like, you know, it was crazy. I had this Uber driver the other day, and he was from Palestine. And I was like, you know, I'm sorry for what's going on there. And he was just like, yeah, man, like it's really sad. But he was talking about even like pre-war. He was like, I just think people were so much happier there than they are here. And I was like, why do you think that is? And he's like, because it feels like people genuinely care about each other. So he's like, you know, there.
Okay.
Whereas like you walk down the street, you know, you're saying good morning to everybody. Everybody's saying hi. You're joking with the neighbors. It's just different. Whereas here, you walk down the street. How many people, if you walk down the street, how many people would you say hi to?
That is true. Oh, yeah, you have a good point.
What does that feel like if you're having a hard day, you're just walking and you just feel isolated? What does that feel like in life? You know what I mean?
Like, I actually thought about this the other day, too, because I was actually talking to, like, one of my clients, and I was literally telling him, like, if you, like, literally walk down the road and you're just, like, walking, right? Like, if you look at people's faces, they're not, like, smiling, bro.
No, everybody looks pissed.
Yeah, I know, bro.
So you ever just drive, like even when you're driving, look at everybody in their cars.
I know.
They genuinely look unhappy. Like turn on your signal and try to change lanes. You know what someone's gonna do? They're gonna speed up and try to cut you off.
I know, bro.
And that's the difference. Like I just got back from Antigua, and that's in the Caribbean. That's where my mom's side of the family, they're from there.
Okay.
And again, people seem happier there. It's a sunny place. It's hot. It's warm. But if I turn on my signal, you know what people do? Go ahead, go. Yeah. They let you go.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, like go. Here, everybody wants to get ahead of you.
Do you have bad driving experiences here, man?
Yeah. Clearly. Clearly, it's a you're at war on the road. Yeah. But that's like a metaphor for our society here. Is it feels like you're in a rat race, like you're racing. Mm-hmm. And you know, and what does that create? That creates stress.
So why do you think like these other like places in the world, like even I went to Europe and like it was exactly like how you described, everyone's happy. Like why do you think they're more happy than like places like Toronto and like all these other major cities?
I think because their focus, their definition of success in a lot of places is different. I think like even sometimes in the Caribbean, I think their definition of success sometimes is like how much they get to spend time with the people that they care about.
That is true.
That is real. That's success to them. Mm. You know, being able to, you know, have a drink by the beach that's all it takes for some people to feel fulfilled. Mm. It's just like being able to. It's the little things that matter to them. Mm. Whereas here, we get so focused on I want to have all this money that you just lose sight of those little things that could bring you joy.
Mm. So, you know, like, do you think like people aren't like these days aren't really focused on the things that they actually enjoy doing? It's like mainly just for money purposes.
It's not even that they're not focused on the things they enjoy doing. I just think in today's world, we lack a bit of presence. We're not as present. Mm. We're in our phones. We're focused on the next thing. We're not actually just focused in the moment. And I think that's the biggest challenge, is that we're looking down the road all the time. Mm. So it's like, how could you be happy if you're always looking at what's next rather than what's in front of you? And I think that's the challenge of today's world. And it's that race I'm talking about. You're looking down to see, like, how can you beat this? How can you get ahead? How can you get ahead of somebody else? Rather than, how can I enjoy this moment?
Mm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's the challenge in today's world here, to be honest.
So let's say like you're talking to like a person who's like literally exactly like you described, like they're completely like unhappy. They always like compare themselves to other people. They're always in that like race mindset. Like, how would you like switch their mindset up?
I think for me, it's really about teaching them or helping them realize it's not always teachable. Like, I think you have to get to a point where you realize something's wrong. Like, you can't force people to be like, I need to change something. Mm. It's kind of like they have to come to that realization on their own. But I really think people have to learn how to be present. And I think being present, there's tools that help you do that. You know, and it's like, for some people, it's writing in a journal. For some people, and it could be a gratitude journal where you talk about all the things you're grateful for. For some people, it's positive self-talk. So it's like talking in the mirror and reminding yourself about all the things you're great at. For some people, it's meditation. For some people, it's working out. Like it's just finding that thing that grounds you every day. You know, and I think once you have that thing, it definitely helps you put life into perspective a bit more. And for me, it's like, I just think some people are just not reflective in life. They're just going through the motions, and they're not actually taking time to understand what it is I'm trying to, like, what is my why? You know, what do I enjoy doing every day? They're not asking questions, they're just doing stuff. And I think once you slow down and start asking those questions, I think your life becomes a lot more meaningful.
No, yeah, that definitely does make sense. Man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think like, do you think that's more like popular in guys or girls?
I think it's more popular in women.
Why?
Because women, it seems like women have a lot more spaces to reflect. And when I say that is, first of all, socially, they have more social spaces where it's appropriate, or it's been appropriated for them to
vent and stuff,
be vulnerable and vent.
Yeah,
so like, you know what I mean? Like, they have girls' night.
Yeah.
And girls' night could be them just sitting at home having wine,
but what about boys'
talking
night?
about life. Boys' night has a different definition.
No, what do you mean?
Like, boys' night to me is like...
But those conversations still come up, though.
Sometimes. But boys' night usually seems like it's around going out. Like, boys' night isn't, let's sit down and talk about life.
But aren't, like, I swear a lot of girls' nights are like the same thing, though, like going out and shit, no?
No, like, girls will stay in. And I feel like, honestly, girls' nights, even when they do go out, it's a lot of times centered around them. Like, I feel like when guys go out, a lot of times it's not just like, oh, I'm just gonna go dance with my guys. Like, girls will be like, oh, I'm just gonna go dance with my friends at the club. And they mean it. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, guys, when guys go out, I feel like they're always like, yo, where's the women at?
That is true, but well, let me like phrase it in this way. Like, let's say like, yeah, like they do go out to like talk to a girl, right? Mm-hmm. But low-key, isn't that like for them though, like to better them, like, you know?
To
I mean?
talk to women to better them.
I don't know if that makes sense. You know what I mean? But like,
here's my challenge.
Feel better about themselves, type of thing. You know.
So here's the challenge with that. If your value of yourself comes from how many women like you, that's kind of that's problematic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then it's like, now your value, how much you love yourself, is based on how the world sees you. You get what I mean?
But I definitely think like a lot of guys are thinking like that these days, though.
Oh, of course they are. I think that's why a lot of guys chase women a lot.
I think it's just like natural competition, though. You know, like for guys, like I feel like that's been a thing, you know, like for a long time. It's like, bro, like I swear, like kings used to literally like take other like kings like girls, bro.
It historically, it's definitely been a thing. Yeah. But it's just like, think about, you know, even in the pursuit of your goals, if you're trying to chase women rather than pursue your goals, doesn't that become a distraction? And could it come to a point where it's detrimental for you?
No, yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean? Because life's about balance. I'm not saying like don't talk to women. I'm just saying like there obviously comes a point where it's like you have to balance like your own mental health, your own wellness, your own love for yourself, your self-esteem, all that stuff. You have to balance that with chasing after women.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like there just got to be balance in life.
Yeah.
And I think
when is the right time to chase a girl then?
I mean, it's different for every individual. I think for me, it's kind of like if I meet someone who I'm interested in, like by all means, I'm down to. I almost said chase, but I'm down to try. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm down to definitely like try.
Yeah.
But it's like if I'm meeting someone I'm interested in every day, and trying every day of the week, now it's like
But what if you're just interested in a lot of girls?
you could be, but then it's like at what cost now? Now you gotta look at what am I sacrificing in order to be interested in all these women? If now I'm not going to the gym anymore, I'm not, I'm not sleeping. Is it worth it?
Yeah. No.
You know what I mean? And it's crazy. Like a lot of this comes with maturity, but there was a time where like if a girl told me come over, and I was like 21, 22, and she could have lived like 40 minutes away. It could be like 12:30 at night. I'm doing the drive. I'm like, yeah, say less. I'm there.
Bro, I swear, like, most guys are doing the drive, bro.
No, but like when you get older, you kind of start questioning. Like you really look at the big picture and say, is this worth it?
Yeah, that's true.
And I think when you're younger, you're just kind of like, nah, I'm there still. Like you're just gonna go. But as you get older, you start asking, or not even necessarily older, that as like you mature more and start asking questions about like what's important to my life, you start asking that, like, is that worth it? Am I really gonna drive? So that's the question I asked before. You just said, oh, it's 40 minutes. But now the math is different. Now I'm like, okay, so that's 40 minutes each way.
Yeah.
So it's not really 40 minutes.
Yeah.
That's now almost 2 hours. Then like I'm chilling with her, so that's at least another 2 hours. So now it's 4 hours.
Wait, so what time were you going there at, bro?
If I'm going there at 12:30, now it's
Okay,
like I'm
well,
probably
12:30
home at.
I've heard worse, bro.
But,
Like worse than 12:30, bro, for sure.
but imagine it's 12:30, so that means I'm at least gonna be home at 4:30, and I got work at 6:30.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, bro.
Or I gotta be up at 6:30. That's insane. But it's like I know guys that were doing that every day.
Oh, yeah, eh?
You know what I mean? And it's to the point where it's like now your job's suffering, now your career's suffering, now your health is suffering. For what?
Yeah.
For your self-esteem to say women like you? Is it worth it? And I think those are the questions you start to start asking yourself.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And I think that with time, you start asking yourself different kinds of questions. And I feel like me, that's where I'm at. I'm not making that drive now. Or at 21, I'm going.
Like let's say someone cares a lot about their like self and stuff like that, right? You know, I'm sure like a lot like people who do care about themselves, they know how it is. Like once you're in that mode, you're kind of like just like locked in on yourself. But like, how do you know when it's like, all right, yo, like this person might be worth like kind of taking a step back from like fully like like being locked in, if that makes sense, on just like yourself and like investing time into a relationship.
My question is like, I think you know when it doesn't feel like a sacrifice. You get what I mean? Like sometimes there's a difference between a sacrifice and a compromise. So like a sacrifice to me means pretty much that like I have to stop doing this in order to maintain this relationship. And it's something you don't want to stop doing. Whereas like a compromise, I see it as being, I could still do both. You know what I mean? Like imagine you met a girl and she was like, you couldn't be a barber anymore because she wanted you to spend that much time with her that you can no longer be a barber. That's a sacrifice you're now making. If you have to choose between the thing you love
That's crazy,
and the person you love, I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
You know what I mean? Whereas if you had somebody that encouraged you to be better and helped you elevate, and like you're helping them elevate and it goes well together, you two complement each other, I think that's when it truly makes sense.
And you guys like split up? Do you believe in like getting back together, or like no, you're not a supporter of that?
I do. I do believe in getting back together in the sense that sometimes I truly believe like relationships to a certain degree have to be convenient. And when I say convenient, I usually mean it's around timing.
Okay.
Like I believe timing in life is everything. So if you're in a relationship and it's just not the right time for you. So, and we were talking about careers earlier, but say you're just so focused in on your career that like you just feel like anything at this moment is going to be a sacrifice for you, it might not be the right time. But you could always revisit that at a later date and be like, you know what? I wasn't ready then, but I'm ready now. And get back into a relationship when, you know, you feel like the time is right. Or you know what I mean? Like, oh, say you're dating somebody and, you know, they got a job offer in Miami and then you got one in San Francisco.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Does it really make sense?
Yeah.
For y'all to try to date across the U.S. or something like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. So, but what if, you know, over time you guys are doing your thing, and then, you know what, you end up getting a job in Miami, and then you go there, and then she's there. Now it works.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what happens a lot of times for people is like they pursue. It ends up being the career that pulls them apart, but then they get to a point where they feel established enough to come back together. I see that happen a lot more.
You think that's good or bad?
I don't think it's bad. I just think.
Snake, or were you W?
This is like, was I a snake?
Or were you a good person, or were you being a snake most of the time? Underground snake, or?
You know what? I wasn't a snake. Like, I just think I can snake people in moments.
Yeah.
But I'm just not naturally a snake. So I think in that game you have to do people dirty at some point. Or I call it, you got to make tough decisions. And some people will tell you, like, from watching the show, they'll be like, yo, you snaked your boy. But I don't really believe I snaked him. I think I put him in a position. I put him in a bad position. But I gave him a choice to either choose himself or choose his girl. And then he chose his girl over himself.
Damn.
And the problem was, it was like, because he chose his girl over himself, I was like, that means he'll choose his girl over me. So then in my head, I'm like, then he's got to go. So that game is really about who can you trust.
Oh, like he prioritized himself over his girl.
Yeah, he prioritized his girl over himself. So it showed me that how much he loved her.
Oh, okay.
So for me, it's like, if it came between us, me and her, he's choosing her. I'm done. And that was my biggest nightmare. I'm like,
sure,
I'm like, this guy's gonna snake me for his girl. I was like, nah, I can't.
1,000%, bro. Would you not do the same, bro?
Snake my boy.
Yes, I mean, was he your boy though, or someone you met on the show, no?
Yeah, but so was the girl.
Oh,
he also just met her on the show.
Oh, okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh, hell no, yo.
It's kind of, imagine being in a relationship with a girl and she goes, "It's me or your friend," and you're like, "Ah, well, I guess I'm choosing you." To me, that's it's not that it's crazy. I would just never do that. I would never like choose my like to not rock with the people who I've known my whole life over someone I just met. But that wasn't the situation. It was just more so I just knew I was the second option.
Were people getting into like relationships on that show?
Yeah.
Really? That?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
In my season, only one. No, there's two actually.
Yeah.
2 relationships.
Like relationships, or just like, all right, yeah, like I mess with you.
They call it a showmance. So it could be a showmance.
Yeah.
But showmance sometimes turn into full-blown relationships after the show.
Really? Did that?
Yeah, sometimes they do.
Is it just like people all across like the world, or just
Canada.
in Toronto? Okay.
There's people from all over the country come together, live in a house.
A lot of people in Toronto, or not? Like from
I'd say there's always a good amount of people from Toronto, just because Toronto's the biggest city. But they're from everywhere.
You still cool with some people from the show, or?
Yeah, like from my season, yeah, there's definitely a lot of people I'm cool with. And then like I see a lot of them here and there. Like some of them, like, we're friends, you know? Even from the other seasons too. Like I'm friends with people from other seasons. It's like a family that you come into, and it's just kind of like you're just always family.
All right, man, since the cut is done, I want you to give one piece of advice to anyone who's watching right now if they're looking to achieve something big or just do something with their life.
I say chase your dreams, go after your goals. Your success is on the other side of your fear. So what that means to me is that don't let your fear of what other people will think stop you. Don't let your fear of failing stop you. Just give everything you got, and your success is on the other side of that. So anything that's stopping you, just feel your fear and do it anyways. You got this.
Awesome, guys. You heard it here first. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe down below. Now, I'm going to leave my guys' stuff down below, literally right here, so make sure you guys go check them out. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.